there was a moment after, like in the first jam, I think, where we all just kind of stopped and looked at each other. No one even said anything for like a second. We were just like, everyone was kind of like, yeah, okay, there's something there.
This week's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Defy Sports. You can check them out at defysports.ie. Defy Sports are a sports apparel company based in County Louth. They have a couple of stores in Dundalk, County Louth, and they supply a multitude of sports apparel. This includes half-zips, t-shirts, training tops, retro GAA jerseys, retro rugby jerseys. They even supply school uniforms and a lot of other things too. You can check them out at defysports.ie, or you can contact them by email if you have a query about ordering something, orders@defy.ie. Big thanks to Defy for sponsoring this week's episode.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
We are absolutely delighted to announce that we have All Kings Competitions on board as a sponsor for Season 3 of That Sound podcast.
All Kings are Ireland's original and best online competition website.
From Ferraris to houses to cash to luxury holidays and everything in between, All Kings have got you covered at great prices, great value. They can't be beat.
Check out All Kings on all social media platforms.
Thank you.
What's happening, boys? Good to have yous.
What's the crack, lads?
Howdy, how are we?
All going well. So this evening, for any of you people who aren't familiar, we have Donal Bones and Craig of Idle Discourse.
Pleasure to be here, lads.
Lads, a pleasure to have yous on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Leave it out.
Yeah, lads, it's a pleasure to have you on, and I really enjoyed listening to some of your stuff during the week there. Absolutely cracking stuff. Really enjoyed it. One of the first questions we like to ask our guests when we have them on is like, what is your kind of first memories of music growing up?
I know mine straight off the bat. An early memory I have is my older brother, acoustic guitar, playing kind of Nirvana songs, you know, like Unplugged style, you know, all that kind of crack. So, you know, I probably have earlier memories, but I just have that as a real clear one for me. You know what I mean? And just like getting into Nirvana and stuff like that would have been a real early one for me, you know.
Cool.
Brilliant.
Craig?
I think the first album I owned was Meatloaf. Battle Hell, that was called Battle Hell, wasn't it? Yeah, that one. Yeah. That album. And I was raised on, my dad would always be playing in the kitchen Pink Floyd or Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. That's like a treasured one. David Bowie. And it was just listening to music. Just I kind of just came to edge with music just always being there, you know.
It was always prominent in your life, kind of growing up.
Yeah, my dad was a singer. He used to sing in trad sessions, and I used to be there like 5 or 6 years old playing the spoons. And he taught me how to play the spoons. So
deadly.
Yeah, so
deadly.
Just always kind of there, surrounded by it.
That's some mix, Craig.
It is, yeah.
There's a good distance between his taste in music in the kitchen versus what he done for a pastime or a hobby or an occupation.
But he was very, like he very much sing anything. Like I remember a video of him growing up with a home video being always there of him performing Phantom of the Opera in a talent show. So he was always kind of all over the place, kind of like me actually in my career if I think about it. Really, so yeah.
Cool.
That's unreal.
So during school and all that, what kind of stuff were you listening to? I know you gave us a little bit of an insight there, but did it progress to different material, or did you just have a wide range of music? What memorable albums we'd say, or memorable songs did you have growing up?
It would have been mainly rap, probably coming of age,
right?
And then also obviously Eminem, or I was a big Kanye West fan.
Yeah,
brilliant.
And then, yeah, there was like obviously the rock stuff kind of kept going as well. I was also listening to the likes of. I had two groups of friends. I had like metal friends and rap friends, and they were always like, "Oh, God, I don't know why you're listening to that shit." Like, but I was always like enjoying both. So I was big. I was a big. I was a big Bullet for My Valentine fan as well. Things like that.
Cool.
So what about yourself, Donal?
Yeah, so kind of I started really getting into stuff like Block Party and a lot of that indie stuff around that kind of era. So Block Party, Foals, stuff like that. But then I joined my first band, and my mate Colin started showing me metal. So he started showing me like Pantera and like Lamb of God and stuff like that. So that's when the double pedals came out and China cymbals and all that. So that was great.
Passage.
So that's it, yeah. And the kind of band I found in my teenage years was Enter Shikari. So that's kind
what
of
a band.
Oh yeah, he's a fans.
Oh yeah,
class band.
Gavin's a big fan. I wouldn't know as much of their stuff.
Yeah. Did you go to them in the academy?
I did, yeah. We had yourself or?
I didn't get to it, no, but I was kicking myself. I heard great reports.
Unreal band, yeah. So I just remember like Sorry You're Not a Winner, and then it was just like the music video of them kind of in the gaff party, and I was just like, it was a real shot of like adrenaline, like, oh, like that looks like crack, you know what I mean? It was before, it was kind of, I was listening to bands and I was enjoying the music, whereas that was like, now I want to get involved, I want to, you know, start playing. So that was the real, you know, I suppose my love for music started with stuff like Nirvana and stuff like that. But I suppose then it's those formative years, you know, your teenage years, that you get that kind of that need to kind of get involved, you know. So I'd say I was like 14 or so when I was like, yeah, I have to get into this, you know.
And can I ask, why the drums? What pushed you towards the drums?
It's mad actually, because going back to when I was younger, like my older brother and his friend group were all kind of multi-instrumentalists, and like they kind of looked at drums like, it's a piece of piss, you know? So all of them could play drums, right? And I was like, it seemed like, well, drums is so easy. But they look, in hindsight, they were all just talented, you know what I mean? Like they all could play and they all had groove and they all, you know what I mean? And I think because they weren't drummers, they were all about timekeeping, pocket. So they kind of, that was kind of instilled in me in an early age. So I kind of thanked them for that big time. So it's funny because I suppose I had an unrealistic expectation for what a bad drummer is, because they were all so good and they were like, it's easy, you know? So I kind of had to really get down and start practicing, because even the non-drummers I knew were better than, you know, some of the drummers that you would meet, you know?
Yeah. That's cool.
So you really had to get into it and start pulling your weight and getting playing along with that click.
Yeah, because I'm going, you know, if this guitarist that lives next door to me is better at drums than me, that's actually a drummer, it's not a good look, you know?
No. It's a bit of a kick in the bollocks, all right.
No, and especially at that age too, when somebody might fucking let you know about it.
Yeah.
It's competitive, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, especially it's like that ego goes away, but when you're 14, 15 and someone's like, I don't know, like that, or you're sharing a bill with a band and even someone in your own band goes like, do you see that lad? Jeez, he's unreal, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, he's better than me.
You don't want them saying, you know, the bass player, that band's better than our drummer.
And he's the best lead guitarist that isn't playing guitar.
Craig, what about yourself? When did you start on stage?
So I started playing music when I was, I would say, about 15, 16. I got suspended from school for fighting.
Yes.
And so instead of sitting at home and doing schoolwork, we moved up to the countryside in Cavan when I was 10 years old, and there was a piano left there in the music room. So I started learning how to play that, and I was always a singer, so I just started singing with it. After a while then I picked up the guitar, and I was doing like a singer-songwriter kind of guitar, like I don't want to say it, but like an Ed Sheeran type thing,
Right.
you know. And then so I started rapping while I was playing guitar, and then
Sorry to stop you there, Craig. You're gonna have to tell the lads about the bad habits story.
Yeah. I was wondering whether to say it or circle back to it.
No, you have to.
Do it.
Go on, tell us.
I don't even know if there's okay. So I was working on this. Donal knows I was working on this song for a long time. I was making the beat and like knocking around vocals for like maybe a year or two, like, and
It's a tune as well, lads. You just have to hear it.
it was a solo rap tune of mine called Bad Habits, and I can't remember what year. What year did that even come out? I can't remember what it was, but anyway, I was waiting to release my song on the 25th of June on this year. Had it all up ready to go 6 months. Like 6 months before release, and then had the video and all ready to go. Donal shot the video. It was beautiful. It was all brilliant. It was all ready to go. And then a week before, Ed Sheeran like releases his teaser for his brand new single, his first single in 5 years, called "Bad Habits," coming out the 25th.
Oh, the same day.
On the same day. There are similar concepts in the video, but I'm not gonna like start accusing them or anything. I think he's a time traveler, but like we won't.
So the next time you see Ed, it's on site.
Yeah, I was gonna ask him how he done it.
That's mental, man.
I thought I saw him outside my window when I was making the beat.
But it was just a red squirrel.
Yeah, so when that happened, I kind of just decided to capitalize on it, and I just went like mad on social media, being like,
you made it like a campaign,
that like became the promotion campaign went out the window, and that just became the promotion campaign.
Cool.
Like getting people to say my song was better than his and all, and like
that's a good laugh. We'll have to check that out for sure.
Definitely.
Lads.
What's that under, Craig?
See High was my solo.
See High.
My solo project, yeah. Brilliant.
And are you still releasing some music under that, or dabbling in that, or did you bed for a while?
Yeah, I mean, when I found Idle Discourse, like Idle Discourse was kind of like, as much as I enjoyed rap and as much as I think I got to enjoy the craft of it and like making it and putting it all together, I was making my own beats as well. So I was doing maybe a bit of a control freak, so I was enjoying having control of everything. But
then you joined a band with control freaks.
Yeah. Then we had to ego balance then and shit. But no, like basically Idle Discourse was like that was like 13-year-old me and me headphones, like, you know what I mean, on the bus on the way to school, like, you know, angry teenager shit. Like that's the stuff that got me into music. That's what I always wanted to make. So very quickly when we got together and we started hearing how it sounded, and we felt we had something special and something kind of different, that
Definitely.
very quickly just became like the thing. And I've released a couple of things under See High, but it's kind of just something I do now, just, you know, when I feel like it. There's not a
Might come back.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's good crack as well, because kind of like Craig might go away and do a single, and then the two of us will make a video and kind of like meet up and just have the crack with it. So it's kind of like we get to be creative together outside the band as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Cool.
It's still got like ID all over it, kind of, in a way.
Yeah.
in a nice way, like.
The Irish Kanye and Mike Dean duo of discussing drums for 3 days and being happy with it and then changing it.
yeah, that's it.
Just sitting there going, there's something missing.
Yeah, something missing. It just needs more. The wise words of John Bonham. It needs more fudge.
Going back a step or two, boys, tell us about obviously your band one and how it all came together and how it all started.
It's funny because I think the beauty of this band is it was totally organic how it started, because basically myself, Rob and Lee, so the lead guitarist and bassist, were in a metalcore band called Antidotes years ago, and that kind of came to an end. We had member changes and stuff like that, and it came to a point of let's not, get a new lineup. Let's start a new band. And we were looking for a singer, and we tried out a few lads and kind of were jamming with lads, trying kind of see if there was chemistry there. And we kind of, nothing really clicked. And Rob comes into us one day and he goes, I have a lad coming up to sing with us. And we're going, okay, yeah, grand. So what's the crack? Like, does he, has he got harsh vocals? Has he got clean vocals? What's the crack with him? And Rob's like, I think he's a rapper. And we're like, what are you talking about? We're like, nah. We're like, okay, well, he can sing, like, can't he? And they're like, he's like, yeah, he'll sing. And we're kind of going, what's the story? Like, we were not planning a rapper. That was the last thing we were planning. So next minute, Craig, we send over Craig some songs we're working on, and he sends us a demo. Of course, he raps the whole thing, you know what I mean? And we're like, this sounds good, but at the same time, we're still kind of like, we had no plans of getting a rapper in the band. So he comes up for a jam. When we start playing in the room together, and he starts spitting over like stuff we've written, we're like, here, what? This is unreal. So it was totally an accident, but a happy accident, you know what I mean? And it's way better than anything we were planning on doing with the band. So it was one of those happy accidents,
Yeah,
that sounds class.
There was a moment after, like in the first jam, I think, where we all just kind of stopped and looked at each other. No one even said anything for like a second. We were just like, everyone was kind of like, yeah, okay, there's something there.
The nod of approval.
Yeah, and the mad thing was, my brother, Lorcan in the band, he like does the electronics and the kind of production side of things. And he basically joined me and the lads before Craig. And he was he makes his own kind of trap music and stuff like that outside of the band called All Caps. And he started putting beats in with the guitars and, doing stuff like this. And we were loving how it sounded, but we still weren't thinking, rap, So it's funny, Craig slotting in there was perfect because it kind of, there was already elements of hip hop in there. And like Craig joining it just brought it to the next level and kind of, it just suited it perfectly. You know what I mean?
No,
we weren't even expecting it,
Yeah.
That's unreal, lad.
Yeah. No, that sounds like it was just meant to be, like, it just was.
That's it, 100%.
It felt like that, yeah.
And I think we still all have an amazing memory when we recorded our first song in the studio together. So the first song we finished was off Volume 1, Law Abiding Citizen. And something about all of us being in the room for the first time, hearing what our music sounded like with Craig over the top, was like, it was just that moment to kind of like, we all felt like, yes, something's happening here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
it's when everybody knows collectively we have something here, boys.
That's it, yeah. It's and you're always trying to chase that feeling, making music. It's just that feeling of, what we're making together, we don't care what anyone else thinks, but right now in the room, we all really believe in this, you know what I mean?
But like, as you said, Donal, like, you were looking for a singer, right? And like so many bands, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but like, you wanted a singer, but possibly, I'm not going to say it's the same as everybody else, but I think it's so much better to be different, to push the boundaries, to go with the like of Craig that was rapping that at first you were like, I don't know. But they're the best bands that do anything, that challenge, that push the boundaries of music. You know what I mean? I think it was definitely meant to be for one, and two, probably will work out better for you in the long run, I hope.
100%. Well, I always think my favourite bands don't have a genre. My favourite bands are always bands that have a what I call a hybrid sound, where you're kind of going, the only way you can get this fix is by listening to them. It's not a case of, I listen to this or I listen to that. It's like, an obvious one is Rage Against the Machine. Like, to get that sound, you can only listen to the Rage Against the Machine. I brought up Enter Shikari earlier. The only way you can hear that is listen to them. So I'm 100%. Into that as a band concept, you know.
But even as singing, like something springs to mind. I know it's completely kind of different genre, but like "Jagged Little Pill" by Alanis Morissette, like her style of singing was so different than anything else. And
You
that's
ought to know that is some tune, lads. I love that.
Yeah,
tune.
but you know the way she sings so differently and different pitches and different tones and all that, and that's what makes her different, and that's what makes you stand out. You're not the same as everybody else. Like there's 20 bands that
and even
do this.
lyrically,
you know what I mean?
she's very exposed and kind of just goes
but
for
like
it.
your stats, like I was listening to your tracks, like it's class, it's different, and it makes you want to listen to more.
Definitely, it grips the ear. It makes you want to keep listening, which is great. And it's intriguing. The lyrics are very, very crafty as well, Craig. Really, really like them. We'd like to sort of get more insight into where you draw from in bits and pieces. But one nice story I'd like to share. Did you guys play in Sligo during the summer? Or had you a gig in Galway?
Galway.
Sligo.
We played in Galway a couple of times. We might have played in Sligo, did we?
I just can't remember which of them it was, but myself and Gavin went to Brian Downey's Alive and Dangerous. And we were in the academy. And we were talking to a person after it. And they were chatting to us about the podcast and bits and pieces. And was it a Friday night? It was. So they had said they were heading to see you guys play on the Saturday or the Sunday. It might have been the August Bank Holiday weekend, was it? I think it was.
I can't remember.
Could have been in Cavan.
Where'd you play in Cavan?
Sing For Me Fest, is that what it's called, Craig?
Yeah.
Could have been. Well, anyway, this person was absolutely singing your praises.
Yeah.
And even though we had spoke sort of collectively before that, they were like, you need to go see this band.
That's
and you
right,
need to get them on your show.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, we've been chatting to the guys, and
No way.
like, I can't wait to see them.
That's the stuff you like to hear.
And they were after seeing Brian Downey's Alive and Dangerous and liked it. You know, absolutely.
But they were talking about you guys after it.
But after the show, they were like, cannot wait for Idle Discourse now this weekend.
Happy days. I wonder when that was and what gig they seen.
Yeah.
Well, let me see. I think that was. I'll just check it, not to be ignorant, but
if it was
I will know by the time stamp.
Now, if you're talking about gig dates,
probably narrow it down ourselves.
Me and Craig are the worst for remembering when and where a gig was. So.
Oh yeah, knowledge is the brain.
I'm like the elephant. I don't take that.
So Craig, just like as Luke asked there, like
it's the 3rd of August to the 2nd, so it was the Friday night of the August Bank Holiday weekend. They were hoping to go see us on the Sunday, I think.
that weekend or something.
Yeah, that weekend. So it would have been
the 4th of August.
4th of August, yeah.
So we were doing our headliner in Workman's Cellar.
Oh,
That's
lovely.
what it was,
So
yeah.
around Dublin.
That's what that one was. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
That's great.
Yeah, it's nice to get that back. Yeah. As Luke was asking, Craig, like the writing process, like what's your process? Where are you on your own or totally on your own songwriting?
Yeah, so I kind of the way we started writing the first stuff was that I basically took away what the lads had made, or they made like a demo, and I took away and added to it, and then we would come in together and make changes to it, like, you know, together to make it like a whole thing. But I'm kind of just, you know, when I think about my process, like there's so many different things, like I'm kind of just writing all the time, you know. No, right. I can't. There was a quote. I can't remember who said it, but someone said that they write their best stuff when they're supposed to be doing literally anything else. Yeah. that's kind of like I'd be like scribbling on like an envelope or like something that's around me. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, yeah. I feel like you know. Yeah, I'm just like I just have a part of my brain that's just always like
just
moving.
Creative part, yeah. Do you do much? Would you read much, or would you do any other kind of arty stuff?
Yeah, I read quite a bit. Yeah, that's the thing. I do. I also consume a lot of art. Like I consume a lot of entertainment. Books a big one. It's actually specifically for Volume 2. Books that I was reading at the time were were kind of a big thing. I was trying to go back to reading classics. Like I was reading, I was trying to read Paradise Lost. It's very difficult to read, But I was reading like old writers like Franz Kafka and stuff. And weirdly, I feel like, some of the kind of like gloom or whatever kind of leaked out into me writing. So that's definitely a thing.
Do you find, Craig, off the cuff, that when you are reading, inspiration might strike halfway through that you have to start writing something down, or you'll have an idea?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Yeah,
or when I'm doing anything really, my girlfriend's
I know you did say but reading in particular. Good friend of ours, hip hop artist Miko is his name. And he's actually the editor for the podcast also, so a big shout out to Miko as always.
Miko.
We would always be chopping and changing and talking book ideas, and he would have been a great man for it as well. And then since last Christmas and after Christmas, I would have been chatting about it. It was like, what are you reading recently? Or he's like, I have this stack of books. He's like, I cannot get past them because I read 2 or 3 pages and I'm writing a song. Yeah. And he's like, there's a sentence every 6 sentences that gives me an idea to go off on a song, which leads to a full song. He's like, I just can't do it.
It's like it opens that door of creativity.
No, for sure. And I've never actually thought about it that way. Like if anyone had asked me this question before, like, it's funny you brought up books, because I'm not the type of person that talks about books a lot. But
I got it from your songs, to be honest. Like, I kind of felt it from listening to your music. I'm like, this guy's reading to something, and there's a lot of honesty too in your songwriting, but I don't know where I got it from, but I just picked up on it. I don't know.
I like to think of it as
like that sentence of I got suspended from school and I love to read books doesn't really.
How was you saying?
It's funny that though, isn't it? Yeah, like the kids that were still in school weren't reading any fucking books.
Honestly, yeah.
Sometimes the school isn't for certain people like myself or maybe yourself, and I found I've learned more since I left school than I was in fucking school.
It's not exactly built for people who want to learn. I think it rewards.
There was one song, just when we're talking about songwriting, I'd like to ask you about the Devil You Know.
Yeah,
I thought that was a very deep song. Yeah, very, very. It hit me too. Now some of the lyrics and stuff, it's a lot different than any other track on the album, I think.
Yeah, and I kind of felt that way writing it as well. That song had a lot of like. I had just had a kid at the start of this year, and my father died in May. So that song, like, there was a lot of influence from, like, it was before my father died, but there was a lot of influence in like the father-son relationship that I was kind of thinking of, and the things that were passed down to me from my father, and the things that I would like to pass to my child.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is like, it's almost like it's like a bit of a cautionary tale. But that song in particular, it was funny that you brought up books, because that song in particular I was reading a lot at that time.
I don't know where I just nabbed that. I don't know where.
There's probably messages of me in the group chat, like I've said it to the lads, that like I pushed for the title The Devil You Know, because it sounded like the title of a book, not the title of a song, or because it sounded like the start of a chapter or something, you know. It sounded like kind of like it had a literature kind of spin to it. So yeah, it's actually very interesting that you brought that up, because that's one of the ones that I was reading a lot, that informed the stuff I was reading at the time. I'd say informed the like aesthetic, like I borrowed like the feeling of it and put it into this, you know?
Yeah, man, you should be proud of it. It's beautiful. It's class. It's really good.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I think what I love personally about Craig's lyrics is like they stand on their own. Like a lot of lyrics without the song, it's kind of like it doesn't make sense. When you put it with the music, it's like, yeah, it works, but you can kind of take Craig's lyrics and it just reads like poetry. Do you know what I mean? On its own. So
100%.
I couldn't agree more, Donal. I was thinking of that today when I had listened to Caveat in particular a couple of times, and then had gone over and read the lyrics without the music. And I thought the exact same thing, that I was like, man, this is brilliant.
Yeah,
like,
I think even Caveat has a line.
Well put together.
Astra as well.
Like Caveat has a line, existence is your gift, it's the only thing that gives you power. And it's just lines like that. It just kind of stands on its own 2 feet. It doesn't need music. So it's like, hopefully we're not taking away now with the tunes in the background, but you know what I mean?
No.
Together,
the whole thing
coming together, like hopefully creates
No, Jesus, no, the music, I'm not giving all the love, I'm sharing the love. The music is class. It's the first thing that I said to Luke when he told me we were going to have a chat with you, and I said, sorry, let me check the boys out and that. And first thing I said to you was, man, it sounds like the fucking Prodigy back in the day. And I was like,
we've heard that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, it just, like back in the early 90s in the clubs or something, that hard hitting, like, I don't know what you call that kind of, I don't know, like that English techno.
There is, but like you had said earlier, Donal, as well, there's an awful lot of groove in the music. Like when you cited Rage Against the Machine, I was listening to some of that, bits and pieces where I'm like, there's a real nice pocket here. It's not too busy. There's nothing getting in the way. And it's like not being a heavy critic, but as a drummer, you sort of hear that. When you're listening, you probably hear the same yourself. And I'm like, fuck yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Like everything's really nice. It's all sitting in the mix. Everything's working and blending together really nicely.
Definitely. And like you said at the start too, it's very hard to put a genre on it, because it's like metal, it's like new metal, it's like hip hop, rap, dance. It's got the whole lot.
Well, yeah, I love the first thing you said is the Prodigy and stuff like that, because I think the dance and the electronic side to the band is really important. And if you come see a gig, you'll really get that kind of aspect to it. You know, we really
energy.
We really like to kind of bring that into it, like, and like have the electronics like blasting out the system. You know what I mean? And have we just have big dance drops and stuff like that. And I think it's just a massive part to the music. Do you know what I mean?
I can only imagine what a live show. I hope to catch you guys soon.
Catch one soon,
definitely,
sure.
because definitely. Like, and even Luke, you mentioned too, there was parts of the boys that you felt like almost like, I don't know if you're familiar with the band The Scratch.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, there was
bits. Fucking such a good band, like
brilliant band, and it was meant in the best way possible that there was some lovely elements of that.
Yeah, sunny elements,
because
of course.
We would have found ourselves when we were listening to a lot of the Scratch stuff, we're like, geez, there's nothing really sort of similar with that, especially the tone of voice or that sound. And then it's like, okay, this sort of can live in the same realm at times.
Yeah.
These guys can hang together, sort of thing. I'm like, I'm liking this. This is creating a new sort of...
Yeah. I like the way your Dublin accent and that, you don't hide that either. You know, some people hide that. Like, I love the original, you know. There's nothing worse than these guys that are rapping and they're from fucking Mayo or somewhere and they have an American accent. You're like, dude, just be yourself, man. Jesus Christ.
It's a big thing in the kind of hip hop community and the hip hop scene in Ireland. There's been like an accent debate for years, and it's just I think there's a big like element of support for like the authenticity of like, this is how you sound. So this is how your art sounds, you know.
Yeah, don't hide it. It's like, what's your take on the boys' Kneecap?
Only after seeing the movie there the other week.
What's it like?
It's class.
Didn't get to see it.
It's really, really good. Like, it's class. Yeah, you should give it a watch.
Did you ever catch the boys live?
No, I actually haven't really heard the music other than in the
film.
In the film,
yeah.
But I've only seen obviously I know of them, but I said, you know, an Irish band making a movie, I'm like, I have to see that, you know what I mean? So, I have to see it, but I must actually check out the music because I haven't.
Yeah, they're not bad. We came across them kind of by accident, and nice show. Yeah. Similarities, not, you know, they're not as heavy as you guys, obviously, but the rapping and stuff is I'd say you'd enjoy it, Craig.
Yeah, we kind of decided from the start that was, like, you know, when we were conceptualizing the whole thing, like, we kind of knew that we wanted the vibe to be like unapologetically Irish, and not like in a in like a gimmicky way that I think it can sometimes, I think when it's done, it can kind of come across as like that's the only thing. But we wanted to have like an authentic Irishness there, but also be like talking about like other things and sounding more modern, and like, so that was a big thing that we kind of looked into before we started. And then having me, like, I was never going to put on an accent, so I think having me in the band kind of forced that a little bit too.
Actually, though, I seen the Kneecap lads, like it was a snippet of an interview, and they were talking. It was at Glastonbury, and they were talking about, like, they got asked, like, what do you think of all the Irish bands at Glastonbury this year, and what's your take on that? And they kind of said what Craig's saying. They're saying, like, it's a good time in Irish music now because people aren't afraid to be Irish in their music. Yeah. We had so many years of, like, let's put on the American accents. As you're saying,
there's an element in there's an element in the Irish music scene of, like, when something's successful, like it's like we just try to emulate whatever is successful. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's the thing. I think the fact that, like, people have been out, like, I think even, like, if you look at it in the macro, it's kind of like genre is dying anyway, Yeah. And like mumble rap is, like, has been a thing for years. So it's not like someone, like an international listener, can not really understand what you're saying, but can still, like, really enjoy your music. And
100%.
Like, all this kind of stuff is opening up in a really cool way.
No, definitely, like, being proud to be Irish is back, I feel, like,
You had said this before, yeah.
Yeah, like, simple things, like, it's kind of a broad thing to say, but, like, don't know, people's just proud to be Irish again. I don't know what it is. I can't even explain what I mean by that, but there's just, maybe it's people that's coming back from Australia or back from Canada, and maybe that like bond is gone and they miss that bond, and they come back and they want to absolutely plaster it in everybody's face, kind of thing. Just
are willing to support each other again.
Yes, I heard, I heard the scene.
People that need to start doing it is the fucking radio stations.
Yeah,
instead of playing the people who already have the money.
Yeah,
I think that's popularity to their streams.
That's why there is a thing where a lot of artists and a lot of bands sound the same, because they're all trying to sound like whatever is the thing that's gonna fucking hit.
Yeah, it's very.
If it starts to open up at the top, you'll start to see so much more honest, real, like different, like, like real.
Oh man, I honestly believe if you continue to stay authentic to what you guys are doing and stay on the same path, doors will open, man. That's my opinion, anyway. Just keep doing what you're doing, because it's fucking great.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, hopefully.
Well, yesterday evening we went through a conceptual album for one of our album reviews in Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf. But with your writing expertise and background in literature, Craig, I definitely think some sort of concept album would be something else.
Oh, yeah.
Idle Discourse down the line.
That's a good idea.
I think the lads are sick of me saying that. Donal, how much did I rattle on about this the whole way through Volume 2? I was like Volume 2 isn't a concept album, but I kept a concept, like, the whole way through it,
Yeah.
And, like, doing like I said, like, the big thing growing up was War of the Worlds, Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. So I've always wanted to, like, do something that's like a real, like, something you can sink your teeth into, something with, like, a story and a narrative and a progression.
Yeah, no, even that album, I'm not sure, like you said, you're more into you have a broad range of music that you like, but that album, as a songwriter, like Josh Homme and them guys, like, some of that stuff, I'd say you'd enjoy it too, like, actually reading the lyrics. It's quite deep too, and a lot of his stuff about kind of similar stuff to what you've done yourself and what you've wrote about. Like, there's such good material over the years, but it's great to see new stuff like yourselves. We're sick of listening to albums 20 years old. We want new stuff, and I tell you, your stuff's in my library, and it's class. And like I just said, just keep doing what you're doing. And
we've had a number of conversations lately about, do people give a shit about their music anymore? Even the order of tracks.
Yeah.
Does it play a significance? And we can definitely see that it does with you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks a million, lads. Yeah, like I think a big part for me anyway, and I think most of the lads is, linking the music together. Like we get such a buzz out of creating it together, as in like volume 1 and volume 2, the songs we think about it a lot, like what, track listing and, how's this going to flow together, and also like creating a dynamic within the album and stuff like that. It's just like, that's kind of, as fun as writing a song on its own. It's like thinking about like, now that we have this, wouldn't it be great if we had, something different, you know what I mean? Or something like you mentioned, The Devil, like that was the song we came out with. We're like, oh, perfect. This kind of fills dynamically a place we don't have in the music, so we can, put that on volume 2, and it's gonna create.
Oh, it's a great touch, yeah.
It was a departure, but it like needed to be there at the same time.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
We've had rows about like what order the songs were going to be in. Like that's a massive thing in the room for us.
Yeah,
that's good to hear.
Yeah, and I like there's even like I don't know. You probably have to listen a lot of times to notice it, but like volume 1 and volume 2 kind of play into each other. Like you can hear the start of volume 1 at the end of volume 2.
Yeah,
there's like a. There's
literally
like a.
Say that, yeah.
There's like a.
They loop.
Yeah,
jam effect.
Yeah, there's a,
next one we have to get a hidden. Got to get a hidden track in there, and then the next one.
Yeah, that where it's like 2 minutes of dead space. It's like
yeah.
And then the song starts. Yeah.
That's an idea, man.
Yeah. Why is there so many more lines on this record?
So before we get into question time, you have a couple of gigs coming up. Do you want to give a wee plug there, or your social media accounts and stuff like that? Give the listeners a shout out to where to catch you guys.
Yeah, so we've a few gigs coming up. We have Absent in Galway on October 27th, and then we have a headline gig in Drogheda November 16th. And then
where's that, McHugh's?
It's actually, I think it's going to be the Purple Room, isn't it?
Purple Room, yeah.
I haven't heard of that venue.
I know where it is, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's reopening or something. Were the lads saying something like that, Craig?
Yeah, I think they were saying it used to be a venue years ago that they like.
The Star and the Crescent, was it?
For years.
Don't even know. Oh yeah, but look forward to that anyway.
We might get to that one.
Yeah, that's one we might get to.
It's close enough to us.
Class, lads. Yeah, that'd be deadly. And then the only other thing we have in the calendar at the minute is we're playing Outcast Night in Dublin on December 13th. So that's
nice.
Yeah. So yeah, lads, if you can make it to the Drogheda gig, that'd be unreal.
Yeah, and you have Instagram and Facebook, all that crack.
Yeah, Instagram, the whole lot. Yeah.
Yeah. We're at Idle.Discourse.
Is that cool? Yeah, I don't even know.
I was looking at some of your videos from some of the live shows. It's fucking class. The video is cool as fuck.
Thanks a million, lads.
Yeah, that's kind of. I think we kind of, as much as we love the record, I think we all find our own in the on stage,
video,
in the live experience. That's like the kind of the main. I think that's kind of the main focus. Is to have a good live show. Because that's where you're really touching people,
That's where the energy is. Yeah, definitely. Do you want to kick off question time, Luke?
We'll kick into question time. Lads, that was great crack to chat all about.
Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Looking forward to getting to the show. Well, we sort of have some questions we just asked people for the crack. I'm sure you're familiar with these at this rate of going, Donal, from some of the podcasts you've listened to, and a big thanks for listening as well. But the first one I'll kick off with is, can you recommend a book, an album, and a movie that everyone should take a look at?
Don't know how to speak at once.
I think we had a glitch in our connection there.
I'm terrible at making decisions. Fucking album.
Do you want to come back to it?
I'm drawing a blank, lads. I actually am.
I've got a book. It's actually, I mentioned Franz Kafka earlier, and it's a book that stayed with me a lot. And it's The Trial by Franz Kafka. It was written like a long time ago.
Right.
But it's like about like this guy just wakes up and he's being brought to court, and he's like, it's like an absurdist book. So it's like this court system that he just gets thrown into for no reason. Just one day he wakes up and he gets thrown into it. It just makes no sense.
Right.
And like you can tell like while you're reading it that even though it's ridiculous and it's crazy and it makes no sense, it kind of like mirrors very well like our own systems, you know. So that was one that made me think a lot.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a book.
Do you have a movie? Movie everyone should check out.
You should take an album, Donal. We'll do it that way.
Yeah.
Right. So actually, I have an album because I was thinking of albums, but I don't want to give the kind of usual kind of albums that we all know and love. So I thought of one there. There's an Irish band. They're not going anymore. Called Agriculture. Have you ever heard of them?
No,
I don't think so.
So they have a self-titled album. I can't remember when they put it out. Jesus, probably over 10 years ago now, I think. But yeah, it's just unreal, this album. I think it's only on Bandcamp. I'll send you a link of it.
Cool.
But,
do surely, yeah, please.
Yeah, it's really diverse album. It's super, super heavy, like, but at the same time, you know, it like ends with a kind of Irish ballad type of thing. And, you know, it's got moments of ska on it. It's got like, you know, piano moments. It's kind of like, it's just mad. It's like really eclectic album. It manages to be like really insanely heavy, death metal almost at times, but then at times it's like really melodic, and yeah, it's a mad album, but yeah, definitely worth checking out.
Definitely. You get a movie?
Between both of yous. Something you love. Other people don't have to love it.
Well, my favorite movie of all time is Psycho.
Right.
I'm sure everyone would know that one. So that's what stopped me from saying it. But yeah, like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's like my answers to these questions will change like by the minute.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. That's what the best thing is. Just off the top of the head.
It would be the same. Gavin asked me what my band would be, and
it changes every fucking hour.
Every couple of weeks.
All right. Is there anything on your bucket list you haven't yet done?
Oh. Go on, Donal.
Like traveling somewhere or going somewhere or doing something or...
First thing that comes to mind is just definitely us playing bigger shows, you know what I mean? Like playing all the big ones in Dublin, you know what I mean? There's just all those iconic venues that we still got to play, do you know what I mean?
Definitely. That's cool. I like that answer. Play the Sphere, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Definitely,
That'd be awesome.
On mushrooms.
Garlic mushrooms.
Butter
and olive oil and all of that good stuff.
Garlic mushrooms.
Love garlic mushrooms.
Series.
Can't beat garlic mushroom.
Steak.
Breadcrumbs and all in them.
Oh, yeah. What else? I think...
Go-to takeaway?
Aye, what's your go-to takeaway?
Do you mean type or specific
I could talk
place,
about this for hours, lads.
Yeah, we both of us straight in.
Yeah.
You ask like two lads in a band that make music and stuff like that about music, and we're like, oh, I don't know. Ask us about food, we're like all over it.
It's the way, isn't it?
That's the thing. We're certain about food. We're just not certain about art. That's the only thing.
Yeah, about art, it's like, you know, you love it so much that you're like, oh, how do I pick something? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, And that's the problem. I love food too much, so I can pick everything. You know?
I don't know if he's ever.
different way.
There's a great spot that we only found, that me and my girlfriend only found last week. White Rabbit. I don't know if he's ever heard of that. It's in.
I did.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
It's like hidden behind like an Asian supermarket.
Right.
On Capel Street, and you just walk in. They do like these like big massive Korean corn dogs. Like, oh my god, unbelievable.
Nice. I'm definitely checking that out.
We'll have to go check that out.
Next time if you come to one of our gigs in Dublin, we'll all go.
Yeah.
I'll go after it for a feed.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I'll do that.
Not too far from the academy.
No, yeah.
Cool. What about you, Donal?
Oh, there's loads. Takeaway springing to mind is Hoi One in Finglas, spicy tray. They have that's unreal.
So specific.
Ring it in. The fuck can we get one?
Also,
Making me hungry now. I'm thinking about getting a Chinese after this.
Backstow's kebab as well. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
I think there's a few locations, but there's one in Mulhullert.
Okay.
100.
Yeah.
100.
There's one
Over by
there.
Blanche.
Yeah. It's by Blanche. Yeah. Lovely kebabs there.
Cool.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Where are you based, boys? Monaghan?
Carrick McCross.
Oh, Carrick McCross. I grew up in Ballyborough.
Did
No
you?
way.
Yeah.
Only over the road.
Yeah, I know a few lads in Carrick McCross and all.
I'm living in Shercock now.
No way, we're literally neighbours.
Yeah.
I meant to ask you that at the start of it.
Are you still in Ballyborough?
But me family are still there.
All right.
No way.
Kind of family home is still there.
Cool.
I'm living in Dublin at the minute with my
Cool.
girlfriend and a kid. But we're planning on trying to get back there at the minute.
Cool.
Just to
Yeah, I hear you.
Further and fucking
Absolutely,
Yeah.
man.
No,
yeah.
I
So
get
it's gonna
you.
be back over in Ballyborough. Yeah. Running down the
Unreal.
road.
Cool. I have one question that springs to mind. Is there a lyric in a song that really resonated with you from the minute you heard it over the years, from any album or any artist? Like, was there one lyric that you kind of went, fuck, that means a lot to me, like it just hit something?
Yeah. Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Or well, by Aslan, I'd like to say.
Yeah.
The Aslan version is better. As much as I love Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Have to keep it real. Would you exchange a walk-on part in the war for a lead role in a cage? And that's, when I was a kid, I heard that, and that's what just made me kind of like something clicked in my brain, and I was like, holy shit, that's like the power of words, Yeah. So I just started putting words together for that. I think Pink Floyd especially were just so good at like saying everything but saying so little,
Yeah,
and
I hear you.
from the start, I think that's a quality that every lyricist should have, and I think that's the first thing that actually hit me about writing lyrics.
Yeah.
It was that line that actually kind of kicked it off for me, I think.
Yeah, that's a fucking great answer.
Yeah, very good.
Donal?
You, Donal?
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm going to try, just because I said that album, the Agriculture album, I'm going to throw in one just because I said that album, because one is coming to
I
mind.
know this one.
There's a line that goes, "You're all that I live and you're all that I love, but you're draining the life out of me." And it's kind of, I'm saying as well because of what Craig's saying. I think like a lyric like that, it's so simple, you almost wouldn't think of it, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's just real relatable. It's like, with so many things in life, it's like things that bring you the most kind of joy can also, take it out. Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's kind of, you can kind of relate it to all aspects of your life. It's just...
Yeah, it's relatable to everybody. Yeah.
Especially if you're a drummer.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Last one from me, boys. What was the first and last concert you attended?
first concert I attended was Bear in the Big Blue House Live. I was
Nice.
6 years old in Disneyland.
That's sick. That's sick.
Unreal.
Oh, memories of that from my little brother watching that show. My God.
I'm watching it at the minute. I've got a toddler, so
Robbing his chickadees as he's watching it.
it's a bit of a funny answer, but that.
Christmas, didn't you?
I love the early Christmas.
A glutton for them.
I'm wintering.
I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say The Killers. I think I seen The Killers first. Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
Good gig anyway.
What was the last one you were at?
What was the last gig I was at?
Hours.
Probably.
Hours.
Probably.
Oh, yeah. Well, apart from yourself. And you can't say Bluey. I know he was in Dublin.
I actually
I was
can't
6
think.
then. Like, well, I actually would go see Bluey. I'm not even gonna lie. If I did
Yeah, I
see
know.
that,
Bluey's
that would
not
have been my
bad.
answer.
Yeah, my little lad watches Bluey. It's not as bad as some of the stuff, I tell you.
Oh, it's a great one. A lot of Bluey is for you. It's not for him.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, man. You know when the mother goes to space? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's very sad. We've often put the baby to bed and sat up for like 2 hours watching it and not even realised that it's still on.
That's when you were eating the garlic mushrooms.
Or the White Rabbit.
Right, did we fully answer that? Yeah?
Last gig.
Last gig.
I can't even remember. I think I'd imagine it was at a festival. I haven't gone to. I don't think I've gone to many like. I haven't got the chance to get to many gigs the last couple of years. But yeah, a couple of festivals. So I think I was at Fwynaf. I saw Shakalak play at Fwynaf. That's the last one.
I'm playing that on Saturday, man. That's
Are you?
mad. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
I was trying to get us a gig on it.
Really? That's
Yeah,
mad.
the fuckers wouldn't book us. Shocking. If you're listening,
Terrible.
book us next
Get
time.
it done. Get it done.
Get these lads on the bill. Come on.
Yeah, definitely.
Sort
Put your finger out.
You want to wrap it up?
Yeah. The last one I'll ask is if you can think of your perfect sound or that sound for you that you would say, wow, that's my favourite drum sound, or I'm not really sure with yourself, Craig, or maybe who you would define as a perfect lyricist, but what would you go for?
Do you want to answer first, Donal? I'll think about it.
Oh, again. The questions are so
What's your favourite
hard.
snare?
These questions are so hard for me. I want to say the Black Album drum sound. But that's too easy, isn't it? That's too easy.
Well, it is though. Like if that's your sound or if that's your thing, you're like, man, I could have the Black Album rig in the studio there. You're like, that's the long and the short of it.
Yeah.
I suppose, yeah. Like there's so many, but yeah, I think I've always like been in love with the 90s, 2000s kind of drum sounds. You know what I mean? That kind of Rage Against the Machine drum sound, Brad Wilk, or even
Evil
like
Empire's
Nirvana
hard to
stuff,
beat.
Sorry?
Evil Empire's hard to beat.
Yeah, just all those drum sounds, 2000s.
That Songs for the Deaf album too, the drumming on it is unreal.
Actually, lads, seeing as you brought that up, I was going to say you should check out, I hope it's still on YouTube, Eric Valentine, the producer of that album. Did you watch this on YouTube?
Check
I
out.
haven't watched the full one.
Yeah, check out our episode tomorrow, man. It's unreal.
You did a whole episode on it?
Yeah, we do an episode on Songs for the Deaf.
Album review, so it's coming out tomorrow.
Oh, I thought you were saying you were going to record it.
No, we recorded it last night.
Recorded, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, the documentary is unbelievable, isn't it?
Oh no, I'm talking about he basically has the multi-track.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he's going through, he's kind of just taking you through like, you know, kind of equipment they used and like how they got the sounds and like he's
brilliant, isn't it?
All right, yeah, and he's like, you know, Dave was playing on mesh cymbals and like, you know, so good, and
the placement of the microphones and I can't listen to No One Knows anymore. Like the way they broke it down, I hear it completely different from now on. Like all
And
the
even he plays, you know, the rough mix versus what ended up on the record, and it's like it's pretty much
not
the
far
same
away.
thing. It's that thing. Is if you engineer it right, it's there. Like, you know, it's unreal.
I was explaining to Gavin Donal of the drum sound, and you know how hard it is to replicate that, because not everybody has the ability to rob a bank machine to buy a set of U87s as overheads.
Yeah, funny. We didn't do volume 2 like it, but volume 1 we recorded in the same style as Songs for the Deaf. Cymbals and the shells separate.
No way.
Yeah, so next, if you throw on volume 1 by us, any song on that, the drums are recorded in that way, where you know, I played kick, snare, toms first, then did another pass and played cymbals. And I knew we were going to record it like that, so I kind of trained beforehand and was like, you know, practicing down in the studio with, you know, hoodies all over my cymbals and stuff like that. So yeah, it was it's
cool.
a hard way to record, but it really does. It sounds cool. Like, you can really get a lot of control. Like,
that's unreal. I'll have to throw a fine ear on that when I'm listening next.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it's we didn't do volume 2 like that, but yeah, it's a cool way to record, but it depends on the song you're doing for sure. Like, but yeah, might experiment with it again, because the result is, you know, really clean.
Yeah.
Like, you can kind of do what you want, because you just have ultimate control. Like,
Yes, I suppose it's pushing the boundaries again to being different and experimenting and just making new sounds and stuff like that, I suppose, too, and being creative in the studio at that moment.
yeah, and I mean, that for us, it's like the studio is like anything goes. There's no rules. Like,
We got the metal table from the smoking area
yeah,
in one of the tracks of volume 2. We're just banging on the table.
No way.
volume 2, the snare sound is me hitting a pole, like just hitting a pole, like with a big plank of wood, like, you know.
Where did you record it?
We recorded up in Belfast. So we've been recording with producer Josh Robinson for years. JSR Audio, he goes under.
Nice.
And he's an animal. Do you know what I mean? He's just, and we really have him to thank for volume 1 and volume 2, because we were meticulous. Like, we want it so specific, you know, and he was with us all the way, you know.
Maybe didn't always know how to articulate it. So you could have like give him, like, try to explain to him how you want it to sound, and he just go, oh yeah, okay, and he just like, and then like it would sound perfect.
Yeah, like in the studio we work fast, so like we're like have an idea and we want it to happen just like that, and Josh would literally be like, boom, presses a few keys, he has all his shortcuts in his DAW sorted, and he just makes it happen, you know.
He's like that. He's very very reactive. Like, yeah, it's very good.
Good engineer is invaluable.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the thing. Like, how much time creating and coming up with ideas do you? Like, I do a lot of my solo shit on my own, and I spend so much time being like, how do I do that thing again? And then like to have someone there that can just like bang things out like that. Like, you're like, I want it to sound more squishy, and he's like, yeah, okay. He's just like, I don't know, we're kind of giving him bullshit, and he's like, he's just giving us, you know what I mean? He's finding what we want to, picking it out of it.
And
so
even we'd be on calls with him and kind of try things a million different ways until we're happy, like. But, you know, he had the patience. He had the patience with us to kind of go through that process, and like, yeah, big up to Josh for volume 1 and volume 2. You know, you can actually
unreal.
If you check out our YouTube, you can watch. It's only a short documentary, but we made a kind of little thing on volume 2. So, kind of Josh is featured in that, and it kind of gives you a little bit of an insight into the process. It's only about 10 minutes long, but yeah,
definitely check that out. Definitely.
Unreal.
Boys, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting. I really enjoyed this one. Jeez, we might have to get you back. There's been a lot to chat about.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and again, we love to hopefully catch you at that gig.
We'll have to catch us at a gig shortly.
Maybe that one in Drogheda. And the best of luck in the future. And see you soon.
We do the next one in Labour or something.
Yeah, man.
Definitely.
We all meet up.
All right, boys.
Lads, thanks again.
All right, lads. Absolute
Love,
pleasure.
love, lads. All the best. Take care.